Well, there's a crisis in Nebraska, and all I gotta say is, well, would you look at that? I don't know if this would happen with Kamala. What's going on, deal makers? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another reactions video. My name is Sir Derek, and this is your first time here. You're welcome. On this channel, we talk everything business, finance, and we dive down a couple rabbit holes. On today's video, we're going to be looking at a MorePerfectUnion video that they did about the Nebraska crisis that's going on there. Now, for those who don't know, I think Tyson's was the one where they are closing down one of their plants, their beef processing plants. And with that, they're going to be getting rid of about 3,000 jobs in a town of about 12,000. So, I mean, that's a huge hit to the economy. So, you know, I think this video is where MorePerfectUnion came in and they kind of did a follow-up on that, you know. So we're going to take a look at this video, get my reactions on it, and see if we can come up with a plan for them. Because I think in a situation like this, hey, someone should be filling the gaps, and it might even be the people themselves. But with all that being said, hey, let's jump into the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. You know, hit that noti bell, and also leave a comment down there. I love reading the comments. So with all that being said, let's jump into it.
Beef and the cost of cattle are completely disconnected.
While you might be seeing record high beef prices this holiday season,
ground beef up nearly 13%, steak up 16%.
Cattle producers are actually seeing less money, and they're bearing the burden of bringing down costs. So what is happening here?
So the consumers get taken advantage of. The boots on the ground producers get taken advantage of. There's somebody making a lot of money, and it isn't you and me.
There's a deep imbalance in our meat markets.
People are actually paying more for meat, even as the farmers are making less.
President Trump posting on Truth Social, you know something is fishy.
And it's benefiting one group in particular. This is a story about the thousands of struggling ranchers putting food on your table.
Right now, losing 17,520 farms a year, on average.
What happens in 20 years?
What?
When we're all gone?
The giant meat packers and the systems they use to control the market.
Because the marketplace is fundamentally broken.
The money men playing with our food chain, and the politicians trying to drive beef prices down by any means necessary.
The only price we have that's high is beef, and we'll get that down.
Is there a future for beef in America?
Our herd size has been declining at an alarming rate.
Meanwhile, seeing Argentina's $40 billion is crazy. And I think he ended up taking the tariffs off of beef. I think he took the tariffs off Argentinian beef, which is crazy.
Right. And what can we do to save it?
We're tired of other people controlling our destiny. Mom, the dollars that we deal with today, if Dad had the opportunity to cash out the chips, would he keep rolling the dice, or would he have pulled his money and said it's been a good run?
Boy, that's a hard one.
If you read the news about the beef crisis, you might think that ranchers are doing well right now. But John O'Day, a sixth-generation
Am I tripping, or is this thing shaky as hell?
Nebraska farmer, showed us a different reality.
It's really tough because historically, 7 out of 10 years a cow-calf operation breaks even or loses money. Come on, Derek.
Oh, wow.
You hope to make enough money when you're profitable to pay down debt that you've accumulated during the tough times.
John is an independent rancher. But in our food system, independent ranchers aren't that independent.
So I told you in our last stop we'd check the markets when we got over here. And so here's the chart that I use.
Ranchers live and die by this chart, the feeder cattle futures, that dictates how much they can expect for their product. Many ranchers believed that 2025 would be a rare profitable year, with feeder cattle prices reaching record highs in the fall. But then,
not a rare profitable year. That's crazy.
Something happened at the worst possible time.
We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down.
His words sent wholesale cattle prices plummeting.
Many American cattle ranchers outraged.
I would say that we've lost conservatively between $200 and $300 per head on our calf crop and on our inventory, so $250,000-ish in a month. It's real money, it's real dollars.
When President Trump announced a plan to quadruple imports of Argentine beef, then demanded American ranchers get their prices down, ranchers lost billions in expected profits. And beef prices? They stayed at all-time highs.
And you know, that's crazy. That's crazy because it's like inflation due to your tariffs, sir. has caused everything to spike in price. The cost of feed, the cost of, just the cost of everything, but especially for cattle, for the cattle ranching. It's like, how can someone get the prices down when everything else that caused us to run everything is increasing? It's just like, it just proves to you that Trump don't know what the hell he doing.
I would handle it better if it was actually making a difference for the consumer, but it's not. What's happened to us hasn't helped the consumer at all.
We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that.
And of course, it was the biggest supporters that feel the most betrayed.
So how can the price of cattle be so volatile? And how can cattle ranchers lose so much money so quickly? It has to do with the connection between this and this.
The feeder futures market is it's there to create chaos and volatility for farmers, but it's just pure paper trade. And those guys don't own any cattle. They do anything but paper trade and drive the board down.
Coy Young is a former cattle rancher. We spoke to him in 2023, shortly after he was forced to sell his herd.
Coy had financed a herd of Angus beef that he was hoping to make a profit from.
And that Friday, the Chicago Board of Trade feeder cattle price tanked to 108.
That was when Coy almost decided to take his life.
We caught up with Coy 2 years later.
Futures traders cause the price to go down. Actually, they needed an excuse to drive the price down and overbuy the market. The hedge funds that are behind these driving forces in the future markets are driving the prices down.
Okay, let's back up. Futures contracts are supposed to work as a simple agreement between buyer and seller, setting a fair price to exchange at a later date. But in reality, nothing real is sold on the futures market. Instead, massive corporations and Wall Street speculators trade in predictions and profit off of price changes.
During the pandemic, we all remember the store shelves were empty. And at that same time, farmers were getting screwed. Why? The store shelves are empty, farmers should be making money. Because they're the ones that create the animals and produce the proteins that we consume.
But that wasn't the case when Coy went to sell his cattle in 2020.
That Friday the 13th, March of 2020, the board tanked at 108. And our sale was set for Sunday, March 15th. It was a massacre for me, and I was expected to get $125,000 to $128,000 from the sale, and I came home with a $36,000 check. I cried all the way home from the sale.
Coy had to shut down his family's cattle operation.
So the problem with the cattle futures market is it is highly susceptible to.
And and it's honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it'd be real hard to really sympathize with these people. I can empathize with you, but it's real hard to throw some sympathy out there because, man, it's just like you guys went through this before under Trump, and then to now of course now with the pandemic that was a little bit different and whatnot. Yes, it should have been the other way around. So I wonder what really happened there to make in the feeder markets in order to drive the price down so far. That's crazy.
Manipulation and to news, whether true or false. And so producers are harmed. One could describe it as a playground for speculators.
Bill Bullard is a former rancher from South Dakota.
Nice mustache.
And now the CEO of RCAF USA, a legal fund representing independent meat producers.
We have seen significant anomalies regarding the futures market.
The impact of this speculation is only compounded by another problem in the beef industry: consolidation. To understand why, we first need to take a closer look at how the beef production chain works.
The live cattle industry is somewhat segmented. If you think of a pyramid with the cow-calf producer at its base.
This is where John and so many other small independent producers sit in the process.
And as the animals grow and mature, they move up until they reach the feedlot sector. And there you have this incredible bottleneck between four meat packers controlling 80% of the market. It is there that the meat packers are able to exert their market power in order to leverage down the price that the cattle feeder receives for the animals.
90% of cattle raised in the U.S. come from small to medium-sized independent producers like John. But we only have half as many American cattle ranchers today as we had in the 1980s. And while that number has shrunk, the meatpacking industry has consolidated. Just four major packers dominate the market.
Oh, Tyson's, Cargill, JBS, and National Beef. National Beef. I don't know if I ever heard of them.
JBS.
I've seen it, I'm sure, but I actually didn't. I thought that was just a particular brand.
National Beef, Cargill, and Tyson.
So in 1980, the cattle producers received 63 cents of every consumer beef dollar, and the meat packers and retailers had to share 37 cents. Jumped to 2021. That allocation of the consumer beef dollar has been completely flipped on its head because the marketplace is fundamentally broken.
In 2019, RCAF USA filed a class action lawsuit against the Big Four. alleging a price-fixing scheme to shift the market in their favor by reducing slaughter and reducing their purchases in the cash market.
We allege that the meatpackers were managing the marketplace to ensure there was never more demand than there was an available supply of cattle. And we allege that that is how they were able to suppress cattle prices.
This power imbalance in the market means that the price of boxed beef can continue.
And you know, it's so funny because, I mean, when it really comes down to it, I mean, corporate greed is so crazy. And again, I like I've said on my other videos, listen, I want to be a billionaire. I want to have these large companies and whatnot. But like, I just don't understand it, because it's like if if you are holding the market back, especially if you're holding the market back for profits, and you're shrinking the inflow, the supply of beef that's going to be out there, right? It's going to be in the market shelves, and we know it's going to drive costs down. It's going to eat into your profits, of course. Okay, we do know that. But what that actually causes more and more, that destroys the baseline. So like the actual cattle ranchers, that actually destroy them, because if they can't move product, everything, so they can't raise the cow, they can't slaughter them and then move the product, what ends up happening is that most of them start going out of business, and then you have this thing where it's like this forced scarcity actually will then become scarcity, because if you go from, let's say, 30,000 ranchers, right, to like 10,000 ranchers, and you know they're barely making any money and things like that, what happens is it's going to consolidate to where, like, if you're throwing, if normally, okay, if 30,000 ranchers are producing, I don't know, 300,000 cows, but then you're only slaughtering, let's say, 30,000 of them in any given quarter, but then because you're doing that, they're losing money on that, and then more and more ranchers are going out of business. Let's say it goes from 30,000 to 10,000 ranchers, and now who are only producing, let's say, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 cows and everything. Any little thing in the market that happens, let's say mad cow disease or something like that, right? A slump in the market can actually cause the collapse of the entire market. And I just never understand. It's like, you gotta think about this stuff from the future perspective. But it's only 4 y'all. It's only 4 y'all. It's not like it's a ton of y'all and everything. So it's only 4 y'all. So you're still gonna be making so much money. It's the corporate greed is crazy.
To rise and generate profits for meat packers and big box retailers, but far faster than the prices producers get for their cattle.
The spread has been widening, which is a clear indication of market failure within our industry.
Yeah.
This is part of the original 280 my dad bought in 1965. Now I'm just trying to keep it to the other battle.
Even after selling his herd, Coy has not been able to get out from under his bank loans and credit card debt.
How's it feel to be like this close to the operation that you grew up on, but you're not working it anymore?
It's depressing as hell. But I'll get back into it one of these days, hopefully.
Coy's cattle ranch is just one of nearly 20,000 American family farms that go out of business every year. This loss of independent ranchers has also contributed to the depletion of America's cattle herd.
I mean, we've lost over 32 million head of cattle since 1980 that should be in circulation in the United States, and now we're at record low numbers.
Now,
my numbers were incredibly conservative, incredibly tiny.
Coy finds himself on the consumer side of the meat packers. He's opened a barbecue food truck.
I'm still paying for this thing. I've got 2 payments left on this, and it'll be paid off.
But just like he was getting squeezed as a producer, he's now getting squeezed as a consumer.
Brisket went from $387 in March to $642 in September. That's a 70% increase in only just 4 months. So now it's like I can't even afford to buy brisket to cook to sell. I can't afford to raise them, and I can't afford to sell them.
Now we can't even talk about one household really making a living year to year on 250 cattle. And 30 years ago, 250 head of cattle in one family's operation would have been huge.
Would have supported 2 families.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The connection between supply and demand in the beef industry has been severed by the corporate players sitting between you and America's ranchers. And it's taking a toll on our whole system.
I feel that my sons, the direction we're going, I don't see a future beyond the generation that's just starting right now.
The price of beef is unsustainably high for the average American. But bringing it down is not as easy as just saying,
We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down.
So what would help?
We have to stop the decimation and desecration of our American cattle producers. We need to rebuild our herd in the United States.
And increasing domestic supply only happens when cattle are profitable for producers.
Sustained long-term profits are the only thing that's going to solve the beef cost issue. Is we've got to get enough domestic production to where we get so far ahead of the demand that the boxes start piling up for the retail segment, and then they'll drop prices.
And that only gets done by getting corporate influences out of the market.
Well, we would like to see the U.S. Department of Justice initiate an antitrust lawsuit against the largest meat packers and even the retailers.
This is about going after the people causing the problems.
Good luck. You ain't be doing that for the next 3 years.
We feel a lot of betrayal at this point.
Woo.
And that's the most disheartening thing. I hope there's a bigger plan. I know God has a bigger plan for us, but I'm hoping that we aren't going to get drugged down in this quest for cheap food.
Nah, that's crazy. That's wild. I mean, it's such an unfortunate thing. I mean, I've like, I'm 36 and I've just seen how America's just changed really over the last, maybe 15, 16 years. Everything, but especially over the last 10 years since Trump has gotten into office, everything you've just seen, just the corporate greed knows no bounds, and it's really imploding and really collapsing our own market, our own economy here in America. And I think the only way we're going to really have a chance at it is really fight back in a more strategic way. I think more and more people need to stand up and start working together. I think, especially after Trump, I think you're going to see more and more mutual companies or collaboratives and things like that. I think you'll actually see that. I know for me and my wife, the businesses that we have, we always, have, about 10 to 15% that we, give to the employees, to make it a semi-mutual company. But then, for the most part, people have ownership, so they take pride into that. And I think you might, hopefully you might see some things like that more in the future at a very, very big scale and very grand scale. But that's tough. I thought this was going to be about the Nebraska, like the plant leaving Nebraska. I thought it was going to be like really a follow-up for that city, but so it wasn't. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. Great video, More Perfect Union. Please go support them, subscribe to them. I mean, they do phenomenal work. They do absolute phenomenal work, and they bring awareness to a lot of things that you just won't hear about. But anyway, that's the video. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe, hit that noti bell, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.